Some game systems are just way too big.
You're too damn big!
Other game systems, though, are just way too darn small. The BittBoy was made just the right size. We think once you try the BittBoy, you're gonna fall in love. Fall in love with Famiclones again with the BittBoy. Playing the BittBoy can cause headaches, nausea, internal bleeding, anal polyps, and cancer. Please consult a doctor before extended play.
Retro Rock plays everything.
Hello folks, today I've got the BittBoy for unboxing and review. Yes, here it is in all of its glory. I actually bought a number of these as gifts for Christmas after reading some initial positive reviews. Now some negative reviews have come in. We'll see. I'll judge for myself. Honestly, I have a hard time with reviews because when you compare, one to other Famiclones, sometimes it comes out better or worse. It just depends on how much experience you have. So I have no real opinion on this yet, except it looks really neat and it has an IPS display on it, which means it is super clear. And I have seen that because my friends have tested it out and it does look really nice. Anyway, front of the box, I got a little bit of a chip in there. Bummer. And this hasn't been opened yet either. But anyway, front of the box looks really nice. I like the artwork. It's got kind of a retro design to it. On the side we have a diagram. On the back we have features. ABS plastic, 2.2 inch IPS screen. That's a big selling point. 360-degree full viewing angle. Yeah, that's because of the IPS screen. Size, language is English. 300 FC games preloaded. I hear it's more like 150 and then duplicates. We'll see. Games are English version and no Chinese. 500 milliamp lithium battery. It actually lasts a long time because it's just such a small unit, so don't worry about that. Battery life, yeah, 2 to 3 hours, which it actually does, I hear. It does have TV out, and battery life varies, yeah, depending on temperature. Comes in 4 colors. This one's the white. I bought nothing but the white. It just looks more classic to me. I didn't really like the other colors, but red, black, sky blue, and white are available. I think they're adding some new colors right now. They might even make some clear ones. Top of the box, BittBoy. Alright, let's unbox this, shall we? Single tab. The Chinese have gone to magnets for this, and it's a little bit more classy than having the tab, but better than just a flap that opens. There are 2 flaps. There is, let's see. Oh, very nice. They included the video cable. Points for class, thank you. And the video cable is not super cheap either. The plastic is actually... yeah, it has some decent plastics. Good. Has kind of a rubbery feel to it as opposed to that cheap brittle plastic feel that some of them have, the super cheap ones. So at least it didn't totally cheap out on the cable. Charging cable looks a little bit short. Let's see. Build quality is okay. Yeah, see? Yeah, the cables meet the end of the connectors. The connectors look good. They feel okay. Yeah, decent, kind of rubbery, and a little bit short. I think that's about what, 2 feet. Here is the BittBoy itself. I like the wrapping. See, presentation's big. Very nice. All right, let's open this puppy up. Oh, good. I was a little worried that this was sealed in a way that it would wreck the bag. It might. Nah, it made it. Good. If you make a nice bag, you shouldn't make it so it gets wrecked the minute you open it. So I'm glad to see that that didn't happen. See, cute little bag. And there is a big block of foam in here. Here, wait. That is for packaging. Wait, is there something in it? No. It's just 2 pieces of foam glued together. Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping it might open, but they're glued. I can actually feel the glue. Okay. Interesting. What a packaging choice. But it does make it so you can present it, so that's kind of nice. Okay, so here is the BittBoy. Buttons are, of course, A, B. It's strange it's not A, B this way, but anyway, A, B, and then you got the turbo buttons up here. Start, select, reset, D-pad. These are not rubberized. These, they feel okay. It's weird. This is probably the most middle of the road I've ever seen on one of these Famiclones. It's not bad. It's definitely not like super cheap, but it doesn't feel, they don't feel amazing. They don't feel like a real Game Boy would, but they don't feel cheap as many Famiclones are. So they're kind of in the middle there. I love the feel of the plastics. It has kind of a flat finish on it. It's not the heaviest plastic I've ever felt. This isn't a very heavy unit, but the plastics actually feel really nice. They feel, they kind of feel like the original Game Boy plastics. They just have kind of that, it's not like a gloss. It's a very flat, kind of a dry feel. That's a terrible way to describe something when you like the feel of it. But anyway, okay, so we cover buttons, speaker, charger port, AV out. I'm sorry. I flipped it over to look at the next port. AV out. Power switch, not an SD port. Do not put anything in there. That is absolutely not for an SD. People have dropped them in there, so beware of that. Volume control, and there we go. Okay, so screen size looks okay. I like the way the bezel looks. It has a very good classic Game Boy appearance. Size. A little bit smaller than a Game Boy Pocket, a little bit bigger than an Arduboy, which is probably the smallest handheld I own. Looking at it, it's quite a bit thicker than the Arduboy, and just a little bit thinner than the Game Boy Pocket. And there we have it. Size matters, kind of. That's off center. And here we are with the BittBoy. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the sound a bit. Because I want to mention this. It's pretty darn loud, right? But it's also pretty clear. The speaker on this is really not half bad. Either that or I have been playing the Fire Core too much, which sounds awful. The last one of these I reviewed had the worst sound ever. This sounds really pretty good. Both loud and pretty clear. I mean, there's definitely distortion on the high end, but it's not bad. Many of the games in here are hacks, which I did not expect. But there's also a lot of games in here that are good. I've heard it remarked a few times that there's not a lot of broad appeal here. I would disagree. A lot of the games are really good, I think. Also, another thing I want to mention is this screen is amazingly clear. I don't even know if it comes through in this video, but it is a really, really, really good screen. Probably the best I've ever seen on a Famiclone. In fact, I'm going to say it, hands down the best I've seen on a Famiclone. And it's a pleasure to play on. I don't even play with glasses on this thing, even though it's a small screen. It's just so clear, I have a really easy time seeing it. So that's pretty impressive, really. Very bright. By the way, I have an astigmatism, so part of the problem I have with some of the screens is if they're a little bit dimmer, I have a hard time seeing it. So that probably has a lot to do with it. But really, really nice screen. Let's just find something to play. Not Mario. Not Joust. One thing is, unfortunately, these are not in alphabetical order. And that makes it hard to find things in here. We'll just do elevator action. And hit start. But look at how clear that screen is. And you can't even see it because the camera's messing it up, but there we go. Looks amazing though. Did I pause it? Yeah. And I cannot see Jack, so I'm not going to play very long. Hard to see through the camera. But as you can see, really nice screen. Hitting that reset button goes back to the main screen. Note that it does not remember where you were, so you're going to have to scroll through everything every time you want to play. Here's the fake Pikachu game, just for fun. Yeah, okay. Very, very nice Pokemon game. Way to go, Pikachu. I can't tell this is a Super Mario 3 hack. And there is a lot of this, a lot of hack games on here, but there's also a lot of legit games that are pretty good. But look at the color. Looks really great. Alright, let's go put it on the big screen and take a look around the menu.
Okay, so here we are at the main menu of the BittBoy. And you will see that we have listed 300 games. There's a lot of hacks in here. There's a lot of homebrew in here. And there's a lot of regular games in here. In the end, I'd say you're probably getting about, I don't know, roughly 40 to 50 really interesting games, things that are worth playing. There's more than I think most reviewers have claimed in here. There's a lot of interesting stuff that if you spend a little bit of time and check them out, they're well worth playing even though you've never heard of them. So definitely go through the menu if you get one of these and try some of the games you haven't tried before. It might be worth your time. You have all the standards here. You got some Super Mario Brothers. None of the games save, so you don't have any of the adventures or any of the games that really required saving. In Japan, by the way, Super Mario Brothers 3 did not save. You didn't get a save, so that isn't that far out of line. I know the US version, as I recall, did. If I'm wrong about that, feel free to comment below. Okay, so we got Pocket Monster here, which I showed you a little bit earlier, which is an obvious hack. Let's go over and I want to show you something interesting. Where are you? Where are you? There we go. Number 37 here, Rad Racer 2. It's kind of funny that the first thing I'm going to show you is something wrong, but take a look at this. The graphics are off. So this game is essentially unplayable yet included in the device, which is sad because this is a pretty good game and you're missing out on it because nobody bothered to check and see if it was any good. And unfortunately, since you don't have an SD card, you can't put a new one in. So no, there's a couple like that where they don't work. It hasn't been like a deal killer for me. It's not like the Mario games or anything. I think the other one, as I recall, that I ran into was a hack game anyway. But still, that's kind of a bummer. That said, what plays here, which is the vast majority, plays really, really well. And part of it is because the D-pad is surprisingly good. It really is a pretty decent D-pad. You can actually have some finesse, which I just said actually again. I'm trying to say less actually in my videos. Actually. But anyway, it really does work. It works really well. It's a good D-pad. Unfortunately, if you look, and I'll zoom in on this for you, and zoom in next to an actual Nintendo pad. Oops, sorry, went off camera there. The A-B buttons are arranged incorrectly. They should be side by side. They are vertically arranged. I found it isn't as bad as I thought, but it's almost certainly going to throw off some people who play a whole lot of Nintendo games. So you might want to keep that in mind if you're considering getting this. That said, it plays a mean game of Bubble Bobble. Come on, get up there. There we go. Nice. And again, this D-pad is really a pleasure to use. From that angle, there's really nothing. Oh, that was bad. There's nothing really wrong with it at all. And boop. There we go. Get him. Alright, back to the main menu before I get into this game. And don't do anything else. Play a couple more before commenting. Snow Brothers, which is good. We got Zippy Race here, which I think is on every collection ever. Here we have Fantasy Zone, so there's a little bit of shooter action. This is a fairly popular game too. On the NES, ooh, got me there. I hate the way they chase back and forth with you. That's annoying. Not playing well. I'm not playing well. The game's playing fine. Jeez. Terrible. What the heck? Don't talk and play. Unless you're capable of multitasking, which apparently I'm not. Come on, you. Again, gameplay problems are not the fault of the D-pad. They're the fault of me. Now, I'm guessing you can probably hear the button presses. And there's a little bit of a creak to the D-pad. Just a wee bit. It's not terrible or anything, but there is a little bit of one. You can hear it every once in a while. The buttons are definitely loud and clicky, so if you are planning on playing this in bed next to your wife, might not be the best idea. It will definitely keep her up. Some people, however, really love clicky buttons, so that'll be a plus for you. And here is F1 Race, skill level 1. We're going to run into a problem, just so you know. I'm showing you this on purpose. I don't know if they're just picking on the racing games. Just kind of sad because it plays really well. See, I am pressing left and it is going right. It reverses the controls around the third corner and there is nothing you can do about it. Eventually it straightens out, but it straightens out. See, it's doing it again. It straightens out and the game's over, basically. See, game over. So there's really no way to play this game either. Are they just picking on the race games? I'm not sure, but that's just wrong. All right, burger time. Woohoo! One of my wife's favorite games of all time. Trying to remember, there was one version of this where the controls were halfway decent and all the rest kind of sucked. I'm trying to remember what version that was. This version, of course, is not it. But if you're used to burger time and it's rather finicky controls, you're going to be fine with this one because it plays exactly like it was meant to. Come on, go, go, fiddly control. Ah, no. Ah, why did I show this? Let's go on to something else. Ah, frustrating. Oh, here's another thing. It says that all the games are in English. However, if we look at the absolute first game, it's in Japanese. I guess they said no Chinese, right? But that's absolutely in Japanese. And here is Gradius, which is a game you cannot play if this is plugged in and charging. I have no idea why. Runs fine on battery, but if it's plugged in, it won't run. There's a number of games that are like this. Some games will run just fine when it's plugged into the charger. Other games like this one will not. No idea why or what's going on there. But if a game's not running, just, unplug it from the charger, I guess. Not a huge deal, but interesting. This plays really well, by the way. Just great. Alright, let's go play some Bomb Jack, and then I think I'm going to wrap things up. Here's another one of my favorite NES classics, Bomb Jack. Honestly, I think I first played it on the Commodore 64, got hooked on it there, but I was happy to see it here. And it's nice that it's in this collection. Ooh, Bomb Jack. It's an interesting version of Bomb Jack. The original one was a one-screen affair, but this one scrolls a little bit more like a classic platformer. Weird, but not bad. It still plays like Bomb Jack, and it's still enjoyable, so not a bad version of it at all, by any means. Come on. Hurry up, hurry up. Run. There we go. I made it. Yay. There we go. You can score more by doing this in order, but I have found at my skill level I should not. You'll notice that the bombs, some of them are lit and some of them are not. Actually, one at a time is lit. And that is how you get a better score, but we're not trying that. There we go. On to the next screen. This can be a brutal game. Round one clear, yay! Alright, let's get a final verdict on this thing before I just spend the rest of the day playing. Be right back. Okay, so how do I feel about the BittBoy? Well, it's a mixed bag, really. I love the construction and the general appearance of it. I think it feels really nice in the hands. The controllers work really well. A little note, A and B, I know I said this elsewhere in the video, but some people don't watch the whole thing. A and B are vertically aligned as opposed to on a real Game Boy where they're horizontally aligned, and that can cause you some problems. I found I adapted to it pretty easily. In fact, because of where my thumbs lay, it actually made it a little bit easier. But for some people that are really used to playing on a Game Boy all the time, that might be a problem. The screen is just freaking amazing. I really like the screen. It's very bright. It looks great. And everybody who sees this comments that. It's like, wow, that screen is really great. So, yeah, no complaints about the screen at all. It is amazing. It has an amazing viewing angle as well. I like the fact that they included some video out cables. I know I complain about it all the time when they don't, so I should definitely mention it as a positive when they do. The sound is actually really good on it. I realize that it's not going to win any bass boosting awards from the 80s, but the sound's really good. I mean, and it's got a really high volume, and it sounds clear at that volume. Yeah, there's a little bit of distortion, but that's to be expected. It's definitely not nearly as bad as the Sega Fire Core I did a couple weeks ago. In fact, it's just 100% better than that. So, sounds pretty good. There is a nice selection of hack, homebrew, and legit games on here. They're not really legit because they're they're definitely pirate games, or at least, pirate versions of the real game. Well, they're the real game, but pirated. There we go. That's what you got. But there's a good selection in there, even if a couple of them don't work. No, a couple of the games I noticed don't play when it's plugged into the charger. I have no idea what that's about, so you might want to watch out for that. I don't think it's a big deal, but there it is. It does that. It's kind of weird. Some games actually don't even play at all that are on there, or play with really massive graphics problems. Now, I only found a couple that were like that, but it's worth noting because one of them was one I really wanted to play. Another note, SD slot in the top here is completely fake. Don't put an SD card in there, otherwise you're going to have to get out a screwdriver and open this sucker up to go retrieve it. That's kind of annoying. It would have been nice if they included an AC adapter. They're worldwide shipping, so they included a USB. I guess that's fine. You know, I'm not going to complain too much about it. They're cheap. They're a few bucks, but this is almost a premium device, so it would have been nice if they would have included it for my region, but not a huge deal. Finally, the price in general is on the high end. I know that these are around $40 retail. I got mine for about 32 bucks, but I bought like several of them, and I bought them around Christmas when they were on sale. These originally retailed for 30, and they jacked it up a little bit. So it is on the high-end price of just being a Famiclone. I mean, for 30 bucks, you can get something that plays other stuff. But I don't feel it would play it as well, and I don't think they're as well designed. It's not 100% perfect, don't get me wrong, but it is a really enjoyable device for all of its flaws. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up, which I often do for these kinds of things. But yeah, I do like it, and I'm probably going to use it a little bit more than my average Famiclone, just because it easily fits into a pocket, and it's well built enough that I feel I can take it places without it breaking. Alright, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do me a big favor, give me a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and tell your friends. And I will see you in a couple days. Bye!
Retro Rob's Daily Videos.